Eka, no sound, Eka. We cannot hear you. I think you use the manual one. No need to use a Bluetooth. Yeah, cannot hear you. Cannot hear you. Cannot hear your voice.
Eka, can you set in the microphone? You change the system in the microphone.
Eka is too advanced, Pak.
Yeah. Young man.
Still young man. But you already finished your lecture just now?
Yes, I'm finished. Or I can do first, then Eka will set up the problem.
You first.
What do you think? Where is Eka? I can't see Eka anymore.
Yeah, because maybe he want to setting the laptop.
Okay, if she agree, I can do first.
Yeah, proceed. You will be first.
Okay, thank you, Pala. I share my presentation. So this presentation is very simple. I think it's not so difficult to understand because we know already about the principle of strength training, because when we say about the power training, we have to talk about the strength also. So I think my presentation today concerned on power, but I have to talk a little bit about the strength also in the beginning. So thank you, Pala, to invite me to be speaker in this webinar. I think a long time already not talk in your webinar. I think this will be good reunion to you. And I see here some senior coach like Mr. John Sim and Lim Tek Leong also here. I'm happy to see them, and other coaches also here. I think I need your feedback also after my finished presentation. So the first, when we talk about the strength and power, I will talk about the strength first. Then after this, I will say about what is power, how to train power, and when to train power. So this is very important, because when we know the power, but we don't know how to train, there's also a problem. So that's why there's three factor is very important to discuss today. Okay, so the strength is ability of the muscle to apply the force. Of course, when we do the strength, that means we apply the force of our muscle. Its developed should be prime concern to the athletes who attempt to improve performance. So, of course, this we talk about the performance athlete. We don't talk about the just in the gymnastic for fitness, but we talk about the performance athlete. That's why we talk here how to develop our performance using the better muscle strength and muscle power. So the several strength development method to fit in each sport. So that means strength is not only good for only body build up, but also good for sport development. So that means we have to think about we build up the general strength, but in the other side, we try to use the strength to our performance in sport. This is very important. That's why so many there's so many strength and conditioning coach doing not really in touch between the strength and the event. That's why the athlete maybe complain because after training strength, they are not able to do the technique or skill. So that way, here we have to do in the different way, with additional way, we call it here specific strength or maybe specific power. So the have some strength terminology here. We have maximal strength, we have speed strength, reactive strength, and strength endurance. So we will concentrate on the speed strength and reactive strength. So that means sometimes we call it the speed strength is power, but the reactive strength is speed power. So here, for the maximal strength, we try to recruit all the muscle in our body, the part of the muscle in the body with the coordination and make some hypertrophy. And speed strength, we do the maximal strength with impulse frequency, but fiber typing. It's not concentrated to the hypertrophy. This is fiber typing. So which all the recruiting muscle also doing there. Then reactive strength is energy storage in our muscle when we do the reactive strength. Reflex activities mean we can look to direct to the activities what we have to do and coordination what we have in the pattern of our sport. For the strength endurance of this, of course, this is capillary density. So the muscle fiber typing, then maximal strength is also developed in this strength endurance. So now we will concentrate in the speed strength power. But before we come to there, we see the movement sequence of the weight training or the application strength application. So we have the preparation phase, mean the principle of initial strength. So how the muscle prepare to do. So it can be, call it pre-tension. So pre-tension mean when your muscle ready to do, or initial strength tension. So here, the second one is acceleration, optimal acceleration path. That means when the muscle starting to work and move, so that means they do the accelerate. So then principle of impulse cause and the momentum, coordination and individual impulse, link impulses. So that means this now, in this phase, we need to move our muscle, but also to achieve something that we want to do in the general, all the general movement. So then we have the principle of the stretch shorten cycle. That means SSC is very important because our muscle is working not only contraction, not only concentric, but also eccentric. Eccentric means the muscle work when the muscle is lengthened or stretched. So the stretch function is to maintain the stability of the muscle, the stability of the body and the muscle to make sure that that muscle ready to initial strength continue. So not only the first initial strength, but also not pre-tension, but this is the second pre-tension in the movement. So we call it amortization, ability to amortize. So that means amortization is time that our muscle is lengthened or stretched, but this contraction actually. That's why we call it this is eccentric contraction. Then we come to the real move is the concentric contraction. So that means we call it here stretch and shorten cycle of the action. So this one, all muscle can be worked like that. Sorry, I always. Okay, so here the conservation of the momentum. So after that we move, we still have the tension of our muscle, and we have to maintain the tension of the muscle to achieve the goals of the movement. For example, we go and stop and accelerate or blocking. So that means our goal is what we have to do. So this is the process. Then we achieve the performance in that process. So this is working in the strength or working in the power. So now here, how we train the power. So when we see here, when we see the maximal strength recruitment, mean we train to have muscle coordination. So we recruit the muscle, the intensity is high, but the repetition is slow. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the other side, we have explosive power. This is intensity is high to submaximal, but the repetition is limited. But we move fast. Try to be fast, even it's actually is very difficult to be fast, but try to be fast. Then maximal strength hypertrophy. This repetition is more than the first maximal strength. The intensity is medium to high to submaximal, but the repetition is more. Then here, power is medium intensity, but the performance is fast and explosive. So this is special for the fast athlete or for the athlete who need explosive or reactive. So that means we train in this part. Then there's the strength endurance. I think you know already how to which sport needs strength endurance, like rowing, like swimming, long swimming, or 800-meter running, and maybe long bicycling. Okay, so this from this perspective, we can see that strength and power training is actually in the one big part, but power and maximal strength is different how to train. So here in the picture, in the video, we saw the maximal strength and power ability. This I take from Mr. Ekkawit also. So here and the other side. So you can differentiate between which one is maximal strength, which one is power. Okay. Okay. So from this video, we can see the video in the left side, in the right side, how they move. So the left side is move slowly, but the intensity is, I think, higher. But the right side, the movement is fast, try to be fast. This one is the intensity is also high. So that means here in ability of the muscle to produce high level of force, of course, that's yeah, but with a fast movement, as fast as possible. So again, if I show this video, this one is need high level of force, but fast. Okay. Okay, the question later, what kind of sport fit to this exercise? I mean, whether you need for in athletic jumping event, sprinting event, or hurdling, or maybe throwing event, or maybe combat, boxing, or what event we need to train this. And the other side, we have not only this kind of power, but we have another power here. We have reactive strength. Reactive strength means kind of power, but move faster and quicker. So here I'll take the video. Okay. Okay, this one is more reactive strength again. Again. Okay, so structurally, this is different with the power before, because the power before is the heavy implement, heavy resistance, but this one is can be with the body resistance, yeah, or maybe with the light implement, but the important is reactive. The important is fast moving. So should be short contact time, and this really stretch and shortening cycle. So here we will see this process. When we do the stretch and shortening cycle, we actually, this pre-activation or pre-tension here, then when the body is come to the contact, this one is a stretch, but this is contraction. So that means we call it here eccentric contraction. Then here, when we go from the contact to the takeoff, then here shortening. Shortening means concentric contraction. So here, pre-tension, eccentric, because this one is lengthening the muscle here and muscle here, is still lengthening, but we have to control with amortization. If your amortization ability bad, you can't control this one. You will be too low. The bend will be very low. If you bend the knee very low, that means your amortization is very bad. So that means you have to be very quick movement, not too low the amortization, not too low the bending of the knee. So as fast as possible. That means pump and pop. Yeah. Okay. Then here must be very quick contact time here and up. So there's the process of the muscle. So normally many coaches only take care about the concentric. They don't train eccentric. So before we go to the stretch shortening cycle, before we go to the power training or the reactive power training or speed power training, so we actually have to prepare maximal strength. And we have to prepare how to use eccentric strength training. That means we have to try when the muscle lengthen here, not doing very fast, not do just normal like lost the force. So when you do very just relax set like this, so you have to control. You have to control when your body is down in the squat. So you have to control when body is down. You have to control not too fast but slow. When you control a body to come down slow, that means your storage energy here is more. So that means you will be trained for eccentric strength. But many coaches, they just do down and up, down and up. So that means they're not really training the stretch cycle, the stretch of eccentric strength. So that means maybe the problem is later when you want to block or smash or you want to jump, the amortization ability is a little bit not so good. So that means you have to train many or movement in the preparation before you come to the power training. So this is SSC or stretch shortening cycle. So here the other strength, but strength endurance. I think this you know already how to do the strength endurance with the weight, with low intensity and long duration or high repetition, or maybe just run in the uphill, but slowly run. It's not fast run because you need to take long duration. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah. Just slow and up with the duration, more duration, because strength and endurance. If you run fast, that means you will run in the power, because fast and short, but in the high intensity. But this one is relaxed. If you don't have any place to get more, you can go down again and up again slowly. Then here strength endurance, this the event specific strength. I take the example also from Mr. Ekkawit. So this ability to apply force in the specific movement pattern in sport. So for example, you can guess what athlete is this. So I will play this one. hopefully can, yeah. Oh, here he can show, I can hear he talk here. Okay, can you guess which spot is this?
Tennis.
Tennis. I mean, there's a backhand or forehand?
Forehand.
If he's left-handers, there's forehand, but as a right-hander, there's backhand, right? So it depends. So if they have to turn the other side to make sure there is forehand or backhand also. So that means we can do from this side and the coach can do from another side. So that means we can have two sides of, if this one forehand training, that means the left hand is driving the medicine ball. But if this one is backhand, the handle must be different. So that means because the front hand is difficult to take the force. So that means this is always the forehand training. Okay. Now this one is muscle recruitment that we talked before. That actually when you train the strength, if you intensity is light, if the weight is light, then the work is only in the type 1. But if you come up to the next intensity, then maybe you come to the next muscle recruitment. And the maximal can be all the type of the muscle recruited and work together. So that means sometime before you come to the power, you have to do this maximal strength first, because this one is important to recruit all the type of the muscle. And also even before we go to the power training, we can do upper strength training. Upper strength training means we do eccentric with a load more than 100% of the maximal repetition. For example, our athlete can lift the squat with 100 kilograms, but with the over strength, they can do 110 kilograms, but working on eccentric, just going down. Because they're not able to do going up because it's 110% from the maximal ability. So that's why we have to do this, because to strengthen the eccentric ability before we go to the plyometric.
Excuse me, sir.
Before we go to the speed strength. Yes, sir.
A little bit detail about the muscle type A, 1, 2, 2A,
Yeah.
2B, 3, 2B, because maybe I missed a bit of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Here, this one is more to slow twitch muscle, type 1. But this one is fast twitch muscle. For the type 2A is normally this for the lactic, something anaerobic lactic muscle. But this one is the anaerobic lactic. That means this one is move very fast. This one is move. That means when we train with the type 2B, the time will be very short. We can't use more than 6 seconds, go to 7 seconds, we go to come here. Because the repetition higher. Here is the repetition higher, but the intensity is lower here. But here the intensity is higher, but the repetition is limited. That means we can't bring this until this muscle more than 7 seconds, only 6 seconds and below. But this one can be 7 seconds to maybe 1 minute or 60 seconds, and this one is longer. So the repetition. So that means when we train all the muscle, this one recruited, we have to do the high intensity training here. But this one can be medium intensity, and this one normally low intensity for the endurance type. So this one is the muscle recruited when we train. That's why we have to see our event. If our event is only single movement, we train should be up to here, up to the green one. But if the movement is cyclic and little bit longer, like 400 meter, like 800 meter, we can be go to this one. Only in the almost in the finishing line, maybe we can sometimes train also in the tree of the recruited muscle. So that means we can be blue, red, and green. But if
So by means,
yes,
sir, by means that the type 2B, the fast twitch muscle, gonna start within the moderate range. It seems that the green graph shows that it starts from the moderate range,
yeah,
and in the middle of type 1. So that means we're gonna start measuring from light to moderate is type 1 muscle, isn't it?
yeah. From here is one type. This one.
Yeah.
This one is another type, but this one actually break down into two types. This because this one is A and to A and to B. This is type 2. This type 2. This one is type 1. Type 1 is more to the slow twist muscle fiber, but this one is the fast twist muscle fiber. Okay, but this depend on sport you want. This one is predominant elliptic, but this one is predominant to lactic. But sometimes we can do also the type to come to the elliptic, but maybe the optimal situation is different. In the training, we have to wake up the muscle, all the muscle. Even we train in this, our athlete is in the type, but sometimes we have to train all the muscle recruitment because we need to bring all the muscle feeling walking all before they come to the specific movement. So maybe later we will see in the training periodization, in the strength periodization, maybe more clear, or maybe we can see again here. Well, first I will try to go up.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Because it's too many slide video. Too many video slide. After that, wait. Pala, give me time.
Sure, Ken, Pak. Let's proceed.
Here. So here, actually, even when you are specific spot is a power, then in the transition, sometimes you have all activated all the muscle. So that means from the blue, then to the red, and to the green, you have to do all here. Then you come here to the specific. So that means when you come to the specific strength, you already feeling all the muscle can work to support the movement pattern here. But if you never work all recruited the muscle type, then will be here will be not working properly. If power, but if here endurance training, here endurance sport is maybe different. You no need to come to our maximal. You no need to come to the 60 to 130%. So that means this is can be power, but can be over strength. Yeah, here it depends on the muscle sport. If your sport is endurance sport, it can be 60, 70. Then you come to the endurance sport. But if you come here with 80, 19, 90, and 100%, 110, it can be power strength. Or you can come to the 130 for explosive strength, like weightlifting, like throwing event. You can come to here, then you can come to the specific strength. So we'll tell you, we will discuss again later about this. Okay, sir, Mr. Sam. Wait. I come back to my slide.
Should be okay.
This problem with my slide.
Okay, can I ask to Mr. Ria?
Yeah, sure, Ken.
Yes, please.
Okay, Mr. Ria,
Yep.
I want my athlete get a power for volleyball spike that, but I don't want my athlete to get big muscle like that. I want to increase the power for my athlete, but I don't want my athlete to get a big muscle like that. How?
Okay. Sorry, I got the trouble my PowerPoint. I have to to close first the PowerPoint, then I will answer the question.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, Alina. Yeah, so actually for that case, you see in the first graph, we see when you do the strength training with the repetition until 14, from 6 to 14, that means you will do the hypertrophy. But if you do the repetition is not much, but the intensity is higher, you will do the strength, but no hypertrophy.
Okay,
Yeah. So that's why please take care about the repetition. Repetition have a mean also. When you do the repetition but slow, that means hypertrophy. More repetition, slow. Yeah. Okay. But if you don't need to hypertrophy. You go to maximum strength, no hypertrophy. That means the intensity is high, but the repetition is low, not that big repetition. Okay.
If I give only repetition, can or not for the secondary school?
How many repetition?
16.
16.
Yeah.
16 in you working on the high repetition. That means this can be strength endurance. Yeah, so the strength endurance can be impact to the hypertrophy too, but it depends the movement. Yeah, if the low movement it can be, or maybe in the movement is faster, it can be power endurance. So that means no hypertrophy. I think that. Yeah, but if you don't want to get the hypertrophy, try to use the low repetition. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Pala, can I open my again? So I will try to open my presentation again.
Sure, Pak. Okay. Just want to remind to our participant, make sure question and answer will be last session after the speaker have a lecture. Okay. So please be patient and just put your question at the chat room. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Pala.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yes.
you hear me? Sorry, you hear me?
Sure. No,
Okay.
it's okay. Okay.
Okay.
Without removing the glass, I can hear you now. Okay, I shall continue.
Sure. Okay, proceed.
So here now, after that, yeah, yes. Then we see, I don't know why this always slow. Yeah, okay. Now here, for example, we have used the power strength. That means the movement is fast, like in the Mr. Ekkawit video. This shrug is like how you action starting to smash in the volleyball. Okay, and the other side, you can have also here, this someone also step up, but you need walking more faster if you want to do power. But this one is, I think, not fast enough. So that means when you walk to the power training, you have to do in the standard technique, like shrug, like power clean, like snatch. This is better because this one is unstandard technique for the strength training. This one is more to the specific technique. For example, here, if you want to do the speed power, then the movement is very fast. You can use the medicine ball, you can use another implement, but important is moving fast. And this one is also, he keep the amortization training, because when we come to the ring, when she come to the ring, she stop a while. So that means she come here with eccentric movement. Stop it and wait, one more. So here, she come to the eccentric movement when do like this, because the muscle here is lengthened, and the muscle, another muscle in the calf is so lengthened. And she doesn't try to do fast. So that means this is also bit eccentric movement. Stop, 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 stop. If you want to do stretch and shortening cycle very fast, that means you need to do faster. You need to do short contact time. Okay, just simple example. Now here, I don't know where is here. I think in Singapore or in another place. This single leg hurdling, the plyometric. This very nice picture, very nice video, slow motion video, but the technique is very nice. You can see the arm movement and also the leg takeoff. So when this is the normal speed, I think the contact time will be fast. But for the beginner athlete, I mean for the athlete who not experienced, please use not too high hurdles. This hurdle can be a little bit too high because this one is the contact time will be longer when the hurdle is high. I think 40 centimeter is the maximal. This can be 20 centimeter, can be 30 centimeter, but it depends on the sport, what kind of sport you work on. And here you have also the running plyometric. This can be used for the beginner athlete. I mean, in the not so experienced athlete. So, yeah. This one can be used in the general preparation. It's no problem. But this one, the frog jump is a little bit difficult. And repeated jump is higher intensity. And karaoke is also coordination and plyometric. Okay, the next, you can use also hill sprint. So you can have battle sprint uphill. Normally this is for team sport like rugby, American football, or maybe soccer. You can use also this one. Okay, next. So this you can, if in your laboratory you have this one, or the gym you have this treadmill. You can also set up the treadmill. You can set the time and also set the inclination. Okay, so we have to take care. And also the using the parachute, this is also kind of acceleration training, but also power training. Okay, and I like this video from Mr. Ekkawit. Before we more to the acceleration and power acceleration, but now we see here more to the real plyometric, but with the weight. This, I think, this Mr. Eka video. And now after that, he used the utilization. From this, he come to the next desk, but the next box. but the box without weight, I think try to store the energy, then come to the fast movement. Okay. And this is the kind of plyometric exercise from the upper body and lower body. It's just something that you have to create when you want to go to the speed power. But if you go to the power, strength power, that means you come for the one acyclic movement, like throwing event, like smash in the volleyball, or like another exercise that you no need to have many repetition. But if you activities is with a cyclic and more repetition, that means you have to do the speed power. So, and the other side, when you do the power with the greater range of motion, that means like throwing, you have to do from the great range of the starting the power. To reach the greater range, the athlete must be able to realize higher power level for acceleration. So that means PA is acceleration power. And in order to transplant more kinetic energy, so that means you need to have more kinetic energy in shorter time interval to the segment of the body and the implement. That means when you want to throw the implement, you need more acceleration. So you draw the implement down or back, then you throw with a fast movement, the time, but in the same time, but with the longer range. That means your acceleration will be higher and the performance will be higher because the kinetic energy increases, the velocity of the release must be faster. That means you can throw longer. It depends. When you have time also, when you want to punch, you also can have more with the shoulder a little bit up back, and that the problem in the combating sport, they know our opponent know that we want to kick. That why sometimes we just make what we call jab, because we need to make sure that our opponent can see my movement. So that means it's different between the sport like throwing event and with the combating movement. So here, the other side, we have to remember about our kinetic link. Kinetic linking means when you work on your body to throw or to do all the body movement. So that means you can come from the leg, the trunk joint, shoulder joint, elbow, and wrist. So by having all the joint used, mean your power will be more. So it's depend in what sport, like high jump, long jump, like volleyball, smash, like the other sport that you need to move all the body power, you have to think about how to train the kinetic link. So in the sport, we have some, in the weight training, we have some lifting. For example, snatch. Snatch can be from the leg to the up, to the wrist, and also power clean and jack. So it can be also done. So the other, you can start jump, but with the implement or with another weight. So you can use a kind of exercise, because the principle is very important. Like when you want to push the truck or the lorry with 5 people, but 3 of them just take the hand there, but not really walk. So that means you walk only in the leg and trunk, for example, or you walk only from the shoulder, elbow to wrist. When you throw, if you not use the leg and trunk joint, you throw not maximal. So here, when we train in the periodization, we need conditioning. If the athlete is not experienced enough, we can come from the anatomy adaptation or maybe conditioning. Then we come to build up maximal strength. So only after the maximal strength, you come to power, or you can transition method. So I will show you what the transition method is here. I show you before. So 60 to 130 according to the need of the sport. Whether we need power sport, or we need a strength explosive sport, or maybe endurance. So come here from the muscle, from the general conditioning circuit, or maybe anatomy adaptation, then muscle build up and maximal strength. This recruitment, then also here come to this one more, recruited the muscle, then come the specific sport. So this one just to know that our training is very a lot of thing to concentrate. Like if you train the power training, you have to be short and fast. Aerobic eclectic, energy system predominant, neuromuscular system activated, no hypertrophy. There's the question of Miss, forget the name. Complete recovery, keep fresh. Short recovery only for power endurance. Specific power according to the sport and intensity when we have the sport. And we have to have positive impact in the speed, agility, and quickness. So when we have speed power or high power, then our SAQ will be also better. So the last but not least is this one is the tape from Mr. Ekkawit. I take it, and I think this one can read because I share the presentation to you with Mr. Lah. Okay, thank you very much. This is my presentation. I think I take already 45 minutes. So I give the time back to Mr. Wazarullah Rusli. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome, Paria. Okay, good presentation on Paria. So now I proceed to Mr. Ekkawit. Eka, Ajan Eka, are you ready for your slide and ready for present?
If you hear me,
Good. Okay.
This time I can hear you.
I can present.
Right. So now it's clear.
Mala, you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. I think you are very polite to give the older man to talk first.
Let me catch my screen first.
Right. Yeah. So you still use your Bluetooth, Eka?
Yeah.
So now you advance from us.
Yes.
Maybe we and Paria need to buy Bluetooth also after this.
But he still miss in the Dropbox. He only know plyometric box, no Dropbox.
Fully. Okay, let me start my topic.
Right.
Maybe have some noise interrupt you because now I'm in Starbucks having a very good coffee.
Oh, so you need to buy for us also.
Because in the offices now, everything is shut down because the electricity in the stadium is shut down. That's why I have to move. Sorry for inconvenience.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. Outline for today. I think is speed training, but the outline for today is first of all, I would like you to know what is the speed, how many type of speed, why speed is so important in the sport training and competition, and how to do speed training at the end. So for topic to discuss with you today. First is this is the meaning of speed. Speed is the capacity to travel or move quickly. The quickly means meter per second. How fast is meter per second? In physics, is we measure the speed with the meter per second, and with the car or with the sprinter, maybe with sometimes we can, or distance runner, we can measure kilometer, how many minutes per kilometer, and maybe how many kilometers per hour with the car. The speed is mechanically speed is expressed through ratio between space and time that I have explained to you before. Now we come to the second question: is how many types of speed? How many types of speed? This is also important because in different sports need different type of speed. In football and in sprinting, you also need speed, but we have different types of speed. Mostly in football, you need a changing direction speed. It means agility, or you need a very short acceleration. But in sprinter, you need acceleration and you need maximum speed, and so you need a speed endurance at the end of the competition in the event. First one, the whole body speed. It means all body is moved together in the same time from one place to another place. The second one is the limb speed. It means the limbs of you have to move very fast in serving, in volleyball spike, in javelin throws, in discus throw. This is the ability of the limb speed at the end of the competition in the delivery phase. The third one will be the reaction time. The reaction time is one of the key elements for succession, because in 100 meters you need only one reaction in start, especially in the sprinting. But in many sports, you also need a lot of reaction during the competition, like boxing on the ring. You always need very good reaction to punch the opponent, or you escape from the opponent. You need also reaction all the time. In football field, in tennis, in many sports, always use many times of reaction during the competition. Acceleration, the sport that move need fast movement, always need the acceleration to get into the very good position. You also need the acceleration to get into the very good position to hit the ball, to kick the ball. You need also the acceleration to increase the speed into the maximum speed in sprinter. A quickness is you can make a decision to do something very fast and can do that immediately. And sometimes the quickness you cannot do again. You cannot repeat again. Okay, the maximum speed. Mostly you need the maximum speed in some sport only, but you cannot always use the maximum speed in every sport. In soccer player, you need only acceleration. Not many times you have to use the maximum speed in football playing. But in sprinter, you must have very good maximum in your competition, because the maximum speed is the key element to win the race. Third one is a speed endurance. It means when you have a maximum speed, you can maintain the maximum speed for a while, maybe 2-3 seconds to maintain the maximum speed. That is one of the key elements to win the race in the competition too. Optimal speed is a key element in many sports. In long jumps, run up, you need optimal speed. Sometimes you say that is maximum controllable speed for the very good takeoff position. In many sports, you need the optimal speed to get into the good position. Sometimes you get into the ball very slow. Sometimes you have to get into the ball very fast. Sometimes you use medium speed to get into the position to play the ball, or to play the tennis, or to hit the ball in the tennis court. Last but not least, this is the speed changing direction. Speed changing direction may be called agility. Agility in the game sport is very important, but agility is not for sprinter or for 400 runner. But in the throwing event need a lot of agility in the competition, because the agility is ability to changing direction very fast. Because the movement of direction, like a short push, to slide back and turn forward. In throwing action, you have to turn around the body. It means you have to change the of the movement that means the throwing event also need the. Hello, what is that? Are you hear me? Pala, you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, yes.
yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
Okay, proceed.
Now we come to the third question. Why speed is important? Why speed is important? Because in the all the competition right now in the world, the speed is more and more important for the competition in the sport. You see in the soccer field right now, football players are very fast, tennis players are very fast, because the tennis ball is getting faster, because of the tennis equipment is better quality than the past. That's why the player also need more speed to get into the position to hit the ball. The soccer player and the soccer ball, the football also get better speed, because they decide to get more goal in the competition. That's why the player also need more speed to control the ball. So the speed is mean, this is the importance of the speed is mean better speed make the athlete get into better position and better momentum transfer. Because in sprinting you have to get better speed to win the race. In the soccer field you need the speed to get into a better position to play, or to get in advance, to get the ball first before the opponent get the ball. That's why the speed is important. And or some other sport, you need the speed to transfer the momentum, like a thrower. Shot put thrower, not right now, they get more speed than the pass, because right now the training train is go to getting faster than getting stronger. And also the boxer, they also need speed of punching to get the momentum transfer. And the soccer player, they need this better speed to kick the ball stronger or faster. The spiker, the tennis player, they need the speed of the racket to serve the ball. And the golf player, even the golf player, they need the speed of the club to hit the ball longer. That's why speed is so important in I can say almost every sport in the world right now. Speed is a determinant ability to many events, so speed development is very important in training. Speed is also important for every sport. For every sport must do speed training. Better speed, better position. That is a very short word, but very important in the competition. In this case, we have to talk about how to do the speed training. And now we have to share some idea. You will do a speed endurance, or you do maximum speed first? This is my question. In the speed training, you do the maximum speed first, or you do the speed endurance first?
Maximum speed first.
Who say maximum speed first?
John Sim.
John Sim, that's good, John. Because in our time when we are the sprinter or jumper, mostly we do the speed run first, and close to the competition we do the maximum speed. But right now the training is changed in almost 20 years. So all the sprint coach or on the speed event sport, the trainer must increase the maximum speed first, and when you get the new maximum speed, and then you start to train a speed endurance, and then you get a speed endurance that new speed endurance is more fast than the last time. So the training idea is try to increase the power from Mr. Ria speaking. Mr. Ria mentioned before, and then try to get the maximum acceleration, and then you get into the maximum speed, and after that you can do the speed endurance at the end before the competition. This is my idea, because normally for my idea, speed cannot train itself. Speed is very difficult to train because you cannot train speed directly. You have to do some other thing to increase the speed of your player or your athlete. To improve the acceleration speed and agility, must train many components. You cannot train only one component and then you get better speed. You have to train a lot of things and then you can get some good speed. Firstly, for my training idea, this is my training idea. Firstly, in the athletic, maybe you have to do a lot of coordination training. You have to do a lot of sprint drills. And then the running mechanic is correct, and then you start sprinting. So movement first, training later. Do you understand what I mean? Correct the movement first, then you can do training. Don't do training when your athlete still lack of movement correction. And then in many sports, the speed is not only speed of the body, but in many sports, you need a speed of perception ability. You need the perception, you need the ability to perceive the movement situation in the soccer field. And then you make a decision how to play with the ball. So it means you have to increase the perception ability of the athlete to see the ball better. And then you need the fast decision making to play with the ball. So the speed is not only run fast, but speed is also how fast you can make a decision in that movement situation. This is not only, I lecture today, it's not only athletic, but I lecture today for many sports. In the opposite way, during you train acceleration speed, agility, or some reaction, you also need support from power. A power training, Dr. Ria already mentioned you before I do my lecturing. Yeah? But before you get the power, you have to get the basic background of the maximal strength. Yes, and then before the maximal strength, you have to make sure your athletes are strong enough. Strength conditioning of your athletes are good enough to train the maximum strength, and then you can change the maximum strength to be a power, and then you put the power into the movement pattern. You put the power into the movement pattern, sprint movement pattern, tennis serve movement pattern, kicking the ball movement pattern, acceleration movement pattern, forehand movement pattern, backhand movement pattern, golf swing movement pattern, and golf swing with the speed support by power. You can hit the ball longer or further. Now we have two key components, and then we have another two key components. In the strength training, you have to make sure your athlete have very good balance, not only static balance. Your athletes must have dynamic balance and also have static balance. It means your athletes must have balance and stability. That's why right now our trainer, our new idea for strength training, we do a lot of stability. We do a lot of plank training. That because we need to link all the muscles together. Yeah, back the muscle from the back side, the posterior chaining, the muscle from the front side, the anterior chaining, and all the lateral chaining and the X chaining, cross chaining of the body. So we train them in balance and stability. On another hand, you have to increase the ability of the flexibility and mobility. Flexibility is mean the range of motion. Mobility is the ability to move of the joint. The joint can move freely, but firmly. Understand of what I mean? The joint must move freely, but it moves firmly and freely. It means they have to have a very good stability, but also can move very freely. That is very important. All these four things, coordination, power, balance, stability, and flexibility, all together. That means you can get into better speed. So speed training is not only sprinting, but you have to train all the four components to be better speed training. And at the end, you can increase the speed training by store the ATP, CP in the muscle fiber or muscle cell, and then you do the speed repetition training or maximum speed training. This is the example of coordination, variety of the movement, neuronal variability. The young athletes and the late athletes have to move in many directions. And the neuromuscular can work properly and can do good coordination. All the part of the body can move together very good and very systematically. This is the power training. Yeah? This is the power training, weight training, jumping, throwing, bounding, plyometrics, body weight training, and then maybe you can do some partner work in your power or strength and conditioning training. Core stability, yeah, coordination and core stability, and this is make the athlete have better balance and better stability. Especially you have to increase the ability of the trunk muscle and the core muscle to increase the balance of your athlete. And this is the example of the flexibility. Yeah? This is the flexibility training. This is stretching, but this is mobility training. This is shoulder mobility, and this is hip mobility. So we have to do so many things in speed training, not only sprinting. And now, how to do the whole body speed? We have two methods. First method is direct method. Direct method means you do some sprint drill and sprint movements, ABC, you do side pop, you do acceleration, or you do sprint training, you do speed training. Yeah? And then, and second method is direct method. It means you do some strength training, you do some mobility training, and then this is the indirect method. And how to do the strength training and how to do power training, we already mentioned you before me. Now, a strength training or the direct method training, it belongs to the energy system training too. Because when we do training, it's also to the energy system. Then you do the acceleration or the maximum. Yeah, you do acceleration or the maximum speed is aerobic lactic energy system training. Mean you do not longer than 5 to 6 seconds and maximum in the training. Like you do 50 meters 3 times, and every time 3 minute rest between, 3 to 5 minutes between, and you sprint 100% of the maximum intensity. That is the acceleration and maximum speed training. Or in the maximum speed training, you can do a flying start. For flying start, it means you increase 5, and then you do the stopwatch only 40 meters at the end. It means altogether 65 meters. The second one is the speed endurance. Speed endurance, now you are training the anaerobic lactic energy system. In this, you do a speed repetition with less recovery, or you do intensive interval training. You have to do 7 seconds to 3 seconds of the high intensity movement. You can do at 90% or until 100% of the maximum intensity of your athlete. Optimal speed. This is anaerobic lactic repetition. Yeah, optimal or very rhythm. In the optimal speed and in the rhythmic sprinting, in rhythmic speed. This is also very important for other sports. It's not only in important for athletics. It's optimal speed. It's for soccer player. It's for goalkeeper. It's for tennis player. It's for golf player. Because every time the distance of the football is not same distance far away from us, and we have to use the optimal speed to move to the ball. If you use maximum speed to move to the ball, sometimes it's very difficult to get into the good position. So I think aerobatic energy system and pure movement. Agility is also anaerobic lactic energy system training, because you have to move less time but use high intensity of the movement. This is 4 types of the direct method of the speed training. Now become the indirect method of the speed training. You have to do weight training, you do power, you do the complex training utilization, or you do the resistance run. This is the how to do the indirect method to support the movement of the sprinting. The movement of the sprinting to support movement of the acceleration, and also to support the movement of the speed endurance training. You need all the power endurance, you need power in the acceleration, you need for the sprinting, you need the power endurance for the speed endurance training, or the weight training method, or you use the plyometric method. You do a bounding, you do a hurdle jumping, you do a drop jump, you do a depth jump, you do up running, you do up stair running, and you do it fast. This is become a plyometric training. On another hand, you do the flexibility and mobility. You increase the range of the motion of the joint. It means you can have the better stride length, or you do the mobility. Your joint will be fit and firm. You'll be fit and firm, fast and freely and firm. Then ability of the joint to move is good, and you have a very good movement pattern supported by plyometrics or power. Then your athlete will improve the speed in the competition. This is the limb speed. This is the limb speed. The limb speed is how fast hand can move, or leg. fast your leg and hand and your leg and hand can swing backward. Be a very good sprinting. You see, in sprinting, you also need the limb speed. You need the limb of the arm. You need the speed of the arm swinging. You need the leg. You need the limb, hip and leg for sprint and arm swing and hip whole body speed or become sprinting. So sometimes to do speed training, we can do speed training without running. Do high knee fast, you no need to run. Yeah. You can do some speed bow, you are not running. You can do single fast leg, you can do a double fast leg to improve the limb speed, and then the limb speed of the shoulder and the limb of the hip together increase the speed of sprinting. So in limb speed, a technical drill, part of the technical movement or technique movement, this is the method. Equipment modification, it means you use lighter implements or heavier implements, or you can combine lighter implement and heavier implement the training. The reaction, this is the example of the reaction. The reaction is the ability of the coordination between perception, decision making, and then response to movement. You see, so the reaction is not from the body, but the reaction is from the brain, starting from the ability of the perception, the information. It means you can perceive the voice of the gun very fast. You can see the ball very fast, and then the brain make decision making to order the body move very fast. So the reaction is also ability of the brain, is not ability of the body. This is acceleration. This is the reaction. This is reaction from the starting block, ability of the brain to perceive, to receive the gun. The brain command body to move immediately. It means the ability of the perception, ability of the decision making of the brain, and the brain is command the body to move very fast. And mostly if you are good training, you have trained it very good. It's not from the brain, it's from the automatic movement. Speed according to the dynamic and mechanic movement pattern. So pattern is very important. So that's why I said before, movement correction first, then you can train a lot. You understand what I mean? Movement are correct first, then you can train it oftenly. If the movement are not correct, you have to start to train by movement correction until the movement is correctly, and then you can train it a lot. Don't let your athlete train incorrect movement, because when your brain memory the movement and are incorrect, you have to spend a lot of time to give the incorrect movement for your athlete. So make sure your athlete move correct first, and then you can train it a lot. So speed for fact in competition. In the speed training for many sports, and not but because speed training is not only sprinting. Speed training is needed in every game sport, and many sports are need of the movement, speed of the rhythmic, speed of the punching, speed of the serve, speed of the limb, speed of the kicking. So before you do a speed training, you have to think about and you have to analyze the movement pattern of that kind of sport. All detail and you have to check all detail in the competition, like the duration of the competition, how long your athlete need in the competition. In sprinter, you need only 10 seconds. Correct? In sprinter, we need only 10-second movement. But in football, you need 90 minutes. In the boxing, you need 3 minutes and 1 minute rest between. So you have to think about how your athlete compete in the point, in the set, in the game, in the half, yeah, or in the round like boxing. Yeah? So the duration of the competition is also you have to think about before you do the speed training, and how many times your athlete need sprinting in that competition. You have to think about type of the energy supply. What is the energy supply? How the energy supply in the competition? Right now, as you know, before in sprinting 10 seconds, we think that is the ATP-CP energy system supply. But right now we know that in sprinting 100 meters, the maximum lactic in the sprinting is 18 millimole in 10 seconds. It means in 100 meters, it spend a lot of anaerobic lactic energy supply in the competition. And that's the third thing you have to think about, the direction of the movement. Which direction your athlete have to move. Like a sprinter, you have to move only from forward movement, always forward movement in sprinting. But in shot put, you have to move backward, or you have to move rotation. You do the rotation move, or you do the backward move. In the boxing, you move in every direction. You move forward, you move backward, you move sideward, or you combine forward, backward. Together, it means the direction of the movement is multiply. It's many direction of the movement. So in training, you have to train speed in every direction of the movement, not only one direction like a sprinter. So type of skill, close or open. Yeah, the skill in the competition, closed skill or open skill, or in the technical training and tactical training. And last but not least, you have to think about the performance of the opponent, who our competitor, who is the team we have to play with, who is the boxer we have to fight with, who is the sprinter we have to compete with. In my time, the competition between Ben Johnson and what is the name? American sprinter, John Sim.
Carl Lewis.
Oh, Carl Lewis, yes.
Yeah, Carl Lewis.
The Ben Johnson, he know if he cannot start first, he not have a very good start and very good acceleration, he will lose to Carl Lewis. So he increased a maximum power very much, and then he start, and Carl Lewis cannot catch him up before the finish line. He win the competition. So this is how we know who will compete with, and we have to correct our mistake. Okay. Then the question is how long of the competition? How many seconds, minutes, or hours? How many rounds? How many sets? And how many points to be win the competition? The energy system, speed. Which kind of energy system we need in the speed training? So we know that it is the ATP energy system supply. ATP-CP energy system supply. If we speed longer, we need the lactic system. Speed in and recovery is out. system energy. We can do in out. We can do game rhythmic tempo. We have to train fast rhythmic and fast tempo. We have to do a variety of the movement. We have to maintain the speed of the movement under fatigue. At the end of the 100 meter, the end of the 400 meter, the athlete must have the performance to maintain a good movement under fatigue to avoid speed reduction. In the game also, in the tennis game, in the football game, the athlete have to try to maintain a good movement to avoid the speed reduction during we are fatigue condition. Often disturbance, who is our competitor and what is the disturb during the competition? Obstacle, game duration, this is already talked. Technical movement, variation, combination. What is the technical movement, the variety of the movement, the combination of the movement, that this we have to think about in the speed training. Okay, we have talked about the energy system. Mostly in the sprinting, we need energy supply from ATP, CP, and we also need the energy supply from anaerobic lactic energy system. We also need the energy supply from the aerobic to have better recovery. In the competition, in the tennis court, in the volleyball competition, during the game, the athletes always use ATP, CP energy supply. But to get the energy ATP back to the muscle, we need the aerobic energy supply to avoid high lactic dose in the competition. Because when you have the very high lactic dose in the competition, you get very high fatigue. Okay, so the aerobic energy supply also very important for your game sport or your sprinting. This is how to think about the competition or the training in the speed training. This is the table acceleration for the speed training. Sorry. If you do acceleration training, you see this. This is the training parameter. If you want to train the acceleration, you have to think about the intensity of training, a distance of training, repetition or set, recovery per rep, per repetition. How many sets? Recovery per set, total distance per set, total distance, the total training distance, and the energy system supply or the energy system you have trained. This is the training parameter, all the information you have to know before you give the training program. Like acceleration, you have to give intensity 90 to 100%. The distance will be 20 to 30 meters, not more. And the repetition per set is 3 to 4 repetition per set. Recovery per repetition, 2 to 3 minutes. And how many sets? It means 3 to 4 sets. Recovery per set, 6 to 8 minutes. And total distance per set, 90 to 100 meters. And the total distance together is 300 to 450 meters. This is the information for the acceleration training. And the energy system supply is the ATP, CP. And then the example of this training, 30 meters, 4 times, 3 sets. 30 meters, 4 times, 3 sets. How many rests between here? 2 to 3 minutes, right? How many minutes rest between sets? 6 to 8 minutes. And how is the intensity? 95 to 100%. This is 3 sets of 4 times 30 meters. This is the distance is used for the acceleration training, yeah? And then become the maximum speed training. You have to use 95 to 100% again, and the distance is 40 to 60 meters. Repetition 3 to 4, and 4 to 6 minutes between the rest of the repetition. 3 to 4 sets, and this is 8 to 10 minutes during the set, and recovery during the set 8 to 10 minutes, and total distance per set 120 to 200, and the total distance is 400 to 600. This is very important. Why we have to know all of this before you give the training program for the athlete? Because to avoid over training. Because if you do more than this, the athlete will run slower, and then the athlete will not train the maximum speed. It becomes a speed endurance. So the maximum speed is not trained. It means you select the wrong training method to increase the maximum speed of your athlete. And what is the energy supply? ATP, CP, and low lactic acid dose. Here we have some lactic, but the lactic is not high. So this is the example: 50 meters 3 times, 3 sets of the flying start. How many rests between? 4 to 6 minutes rest between. How many rests between the set? 8 to 10 minutes. How long the duration? 3 times 50 meters 3 times 150. Yeah, and altogether, how many meters? 450 meters. This is in the frame of the training parameter. And then now we come to the speed endurance training. Yeah, 90 to 95%. The speed endurance, we will not do the 100% of the speed endurance training, because at the end of the distance, the athlete cannot control the movement, cannot control the correct movement. It's very difficult to control the correct movement at the end of the speed endurance training. And the distance will be 7 to 150 meters. Yeah? Repetition 2 to 5, and recovery 2 to 5 minutes. Why we recovery shorter than the maximum speed? Because we don't want them to do the full recovery. They're still a little bit fatigued and then go again, a little bit fatigued and go again, because we want to increase the ability of the lactic acid energy system, or anaerobic lactic energy system. So we want to activate the lactic energy supply in the training at the end of the rest of the 100 meters. Yeah? And if you want to do another distance, maybe you can increase here 150 to 300. That is maybe for 200 runners, and then maybe you have to do here 300 to 600. That is for 400 runners or 800 runners for the speed endurance training. This means speed endurance 1, endurance 2, and speed endurance 3. I don't want to mention more than this because it's a lot of information. This is the example of the acceleration. This is how to accelerate our Coleman. He is very fast accelerator. $60-meter competition. This is we do some speed of how to increase the ability of the changing direction. So we have to combine the movement with the power training. This one. Both of them are professional tennis players. We do drop jumps, and then we have to change the movement immediately. And the height of the drop jump is not so high, and then they can changing direction very easily. So we want them to change the direction very fast. This is some crazy idea. You do the stadium stare to create the training situation. Changing direction and eccentric, concentric movement of the muscle is plyometric training and changing direction in the same time. This is maybe not for athletic, but for other sports. This is also this is the rhythmic of the sprinting. The athletes have to check and increase the speed of the rhythm. So in the rhythmic, you use the rhythmic sprinting in the hurdle, or the jumping event you use the rhythmic, or the throwing event you use the rhythmic, or the steeplechases or the cross country you need the rhythmic. You see the rhythmic of the 5-step rhythm before they throw the javelin. This also a very good rhythmic. Even this is for the athlete or athletic, but in the hurdle sprinting, you can do rhythmic training for other sports. It's like you do short distance, longer distance, and short distance and long distance combined together in hurdling. It increases the rhythm of the sprinters or on the other events. Here, you can increase the ability of the reaction in different kind of sport, not only for athletics. This is the speed of the perception ability, decision making, responsive, focusing, awareness, focusing, accuracy, decision making. But basketball is the interrupting, and football is more interrupting, and the basketball so now more interrupting. But the athlete control the movement, see, and still have a very good perception, awareness, and speed of the movement. Look, this is not only training body, this is also brain training. And right now I learn more and more. We know this kind of exercise not only increase the ability of the body, but increase the ability of the brain. You can have the neuron genesis. It means you get more brain cells. You can have neuron transmitter. You can have more and more neuron transmission. Okay. Okay, Pala, this is my presentation. Where are you? Any question in my presentation, or maybe a question from Mr. Ria? Hello, you hear me? Hear me? Oh, you have very nice bedroom.
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
The connection is
Hello.
unstable. Hello. Yes. Yes. Pala.
Okay, Eka, can hear.
Yes. Thank you.
So, go, Eka.
So now floor for time for question.
Yeah. Okay. So now I open to question and answer session. So we got a question here. Maybe Pari already left from this.
Here,
Webinar.
sir.
We need to go to the first question, Eka.
Yes.
Enggak.
Okay, so I need to go to
Yes.
right. The first question is, what is the speed for a sprinter swimmer?
What is the intensity?
Alright.
One more time. Again, please. I don't hear clearly.
Alright. What is need to train the speed movement for a sprinter swimmer?
What is what? What intensity? Or what is
Right. Train speed for a sprinter swimmer. Swimmer.
swimmer? This is very good question. Okay, I have worked one course in swimming. We have discussion about her training, and she is very good swimmer in Thailand national team. Very young sprinter. She swim 50 meters, 25 plus 50 meters. She is right now she is the national team, and she only 14, become 15 this year. She swim 25, 9, and she is 13 something. I saw her from her family, because her father is my former high jumper, who silver medal in the SEA Games competition before. So the daughter of my high jumper, and she's tall 176. She's 176. Right now she in America. And then I did have with her coach when she was young. So we talked with the coach. So before she do a lot of swimming, so we have to do the correct movement pattern of swimming. We try to correct a lot of cross stroke. You know, cross stroke is a freestyle swimming. Which the name of the freestyle swimming is cross stroke. So we try to correct the movement of the cross stroke. The technical movement pattern are correct, and then we swim a lot. And then we do sprinting. And right now we start a power training to add the power in the correct movement. So when she has the good movement, and then we add the power, she will become very good sprinter in the swimming. So the swimming and sprinting are the same. Before you start sprinting, make sure your athlete have a good technical movement. That's the key. That key to have a long success, or have a key to be a top athlete. You must think about the technical movement correction first, and then you start a power training. After power training, with the movement position, good movement, and then you gain better acceleration. When the acceleration is going up, then the maximum speed is getting better. And after that, you can do speed endurance training. This is new idea how to train right now in the world, okay? In every kind of sport.
Right. So maybe a good answer from Eka. So we proceed to the second question. So this one is a good question. What is need to training the speed, movement, punch and kicking for karate? This one is for karate, combat sport.
Fast movement, kick movement, nah?
Yeah, punch and kicking.
Okay. I stay in the gym when I was young, and before when I was young, we have the wrong idea how to train speed of kicking. So we try to kick a lot. You understand what I mean? We try to kick a lot. When you try to kick a lot, when you kick so many times, it's not a speed training. Because when you kick so many times, it becomes anaerobic lactic training. If you want to increase the speed of the kicking, so make sure your athlete kick correctly, and then you add the power training from Mr. Ria mentioned lecturing before I do the lecturing, and then you not kick any time but many sets. You understand what I mean? You kick not more than 10 times and stop, and then kick 10 times and stop, and then kick 10 times. So to train speed is the quality training. Speed is not quantity training. You can add more sets but less repetition in the set. So that's speed training. But if you do in the set so many repetition, that you do the endurance training, you not do a speed training. So make sure your karate players kick correctly, movement correctly, and then you add a power in the movement of kicking, and then you not more than 10 times recovery. This is a speed of kicking training. But most in this kind of, I told you, I stay in the Thai boxing gym before. We kick so many times, kick 100 times. And 100 times is not a speed, because after 10, 15 times, your kicking is getting slower. And do not use your muscle will not use the fast twitch type 2B anymore. You become to use 2A, and you become to use the type 1. And then it means you do the endurance training, not speed training.
All right. So good answer from Eka. Maybe only you can answer the question because Pari already left. So okay. Yeah. So the next question is all right. This one is for hockey. Hockey. All right. Do Mr. Ria agree that your intermittent recovery test indicate real-time VO2 max capacity? Agree or not? I would like to hear both speaker opinion. I recently used it. Thank you.
One more time. I not hear clearly.
All right. Do Mr. Pak Ria agree that your intermittent recovery test indicate real-time VO2 max capacity? Agree or not?
About the recovery.
Yeah, your recovery test.
Recovery of what?
Indicate real-time VO2 max capacity.
Can you show me what is the word? I cannot hear clearly. I don't know what is the word.
Right. At the chat room, you see at the chat room.
Okay, I go chat room. Okay, the question of who?
SAM. 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 Team sport hockey.
Let's see. Faturula. If participant question, please need training speed of sprinter swimmer. Okay. What is training the speed? Okay lah. okay lah, para. Let's see.
Scroll down. You got the team sport hockey. Ready? Ajan?
See, no, moment. Cycling sport.
Go on, Manit.
This is hockey, team sport, huh?
Yeah.
Do Mr. Paria agree that yo-yo? What is yo-yo? Intermittent recovery. Okay, good. Now understand what you mean. Your recovery test indicate real-time VO2 max capacity. Agree about opinion. Good question. It's good question. I know the yo-yo test. Yo-yo test is not for recovery.
Yeah.
Yo-yo test for the maximum aerobic capacity. Understand? The yo-yo test is test for the maximum aerobic capacity. It's the indirect test of the maximum max VO2. VO2 max is the indirect test of the VO2 max, because if you use the VO2 max, you have to check on the gas test during you running on the treadmill. It depends. As we know, the recovery of the athlete during in the competition it comes from the aerobic capacity, because the energy system of the body always work together. ATP, CP, anaerobic, lactic energy supply, anaerobic, lactic energy supply, and the aerobic energy supply. These three systems work together. Then, during the rest period in the competition, the energy supply from the aerobic capacity will increase the ATP, will replace the ATP into the muscle. So if the athlete have a very good aerobic capacity, then the ATP supply from the aerobic to the muscle fast. And also, as we know, aerobic energy system can lactic acid. From lactic acid become lactate and become pyruvate, and the pyruvate put into the Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle is the of the aerobic energy system, and change the lactic into ATP, TP, and send back to the muscle. So if your athlete have good aerobic energy system, or you have a good aerobic capacity, it means your athlete will get a slow fatigue, and if your athlete has this, they will recover fast. So the best of the from the sport or from the in the fight sport is come from the aerobic capacity, and yo-yo test is test from the aerobic test for the aerobic capacity. If who has the better aerobic, it means they have better recovery. So I don't know the reliability of the yo-yo test, but I know that if who has the better aerobic, they have better.
All right. So good answer from Eka. All right. So the next question. This one is
Yes.
What will be from Kelvin Gerald?
From whom?
From Kelvin Gerald. Okay. What will be training to improve sprinter endurance?
What
What will be the best training to improve sprinters endurance?
Speed endurance.
Yeah.
What?
For sprinter, how to improve sprinter endurance? Eka, please open your speaker, unmute. All right.
What the question is, what is the best way to train the speed endurance?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. It's good question. The best way to train the anaerobic lactic energy system. Then I say this. Speed endurance is the ability of the anaerobic lactic energy supply. Right now, we know that we have to increase the delta lactate. Delta lactate means we have to increase the of an anaerobic energy supply, and then the anaerobic energy supply can give the ATP very fast to the muscle. Then your athlete can have better speed endurance. So to do this, so we do longer distance, and the distance is the best distance for to do this kind of training is 150 to 300 meters. So maybe you do 3 times 150. First one, acceleration, 150. Rest 1 minute, and second time you do in out, 150 in, 50 out, and 50 in. Rest 1 minute, and then you do 150 flat out. You understand what I mean? Yeah. So what is that? It means for first 50 you already gain lactic. Second 150 you increase, you accumulation. The lactic is accumulation in the second round of the 150, and at the end run flat out in 150. It's high lactic acid training. Why we have to do this? We have to do this because of your athlete need a lot of lactic acid energy system in the competition to maintain the speed during the competition. So we need lactic. We need high lactic dose. We don't avoid the lactic, but we need more lactic to gain more energy supply in the competition. And make sure before you do this, you have to train. You already train acceleration. You have already trained maximum speed, and you have already good aerobic capacity. Understand? And then you can add the anaerobic lactic energy supply at the end before competition. Maybe 6 to 8 weeks before competition, you add more anaerobic energy supply. But don't do a lot of lactic training in the preparation period, in the specific period. But we try to do more before competition, because lactic always kill your the small muscle cells in the muscle, mitochondria. If you train a lot of lactic will dry out the enzyme of mitochondria, and the aerobic capacity of the athlete will break down. This is not from my knowledge. This is Professor Hartman knowledge.
Okay. So we proceed to the next question, Eka.
Yes, one question, 100 US. Okay.
I pay for it. All right. This is good from also. Question is for rest walking. How to apply speed? What are the speed training ideas, Eka?
Walking. Are you sure rest walking is a speed event?
Oh, that one is endurance. Yeah.
That is the endurance event, but they also train speed. Yeah, they also train speed, but they cannot too high speed, because if you are too high, you are fly in the air, and then you are fouled in competition. Yeah, it becomes running. It's not race walking. I know that because I have learned from my friend from China, Mr. Chen. He's actually Olympian and gold medal in the Olympic and World Championship. Chen is in Kunming, China. He worked in Thailand with me for 1 year. Firstly, ask me, coordination. Coordination is the best way to train the speed of the race walker. Do a lot of coordination. This is very important because most of the race walkers, they lack of coordination. They like to do a lot of walking, but Chen do a lot of coordination. He tried to do so many technical drills for coordination training for his race walker, and they train speed. They train speed on treadmill. You understand? He know exactly how fast his race walker can walk for 1 second, and then he set the speed on the treadmill. He do over speed for his athlete on the treadmill. Understand? His athlete can walk 3 meters per second. Can walk 3 meters per second. So he got 2% on treadmill, and he asked the athlete walk. That means the over speed of the race walker. But in sprinter, what we do the assistant run. We do the for our sprinter, or we run downhill for our sprinter. But race walking, they don't do the downhill or uphill because you change the walking mechanic. But they do the speed increasing and get better speed by walking on the treadmill. But that is faster than the maximum speed on the track. Coordination and over speed. Yeah, from Chen.
All right. So maybe this one is last question. Okay, because the time is come at the end of the webinar. All right. This one is good question. All right. I choose the best one. This one is focused on sepak takraw. This one is from Zayar from, I think, from Myanmar. If I want a high intensity spike from the sepak takraw player who is a striker, what kind of a speed or strength do I need to train? For example, acceleration and maximum or optimum speed training.
You asked the correct one because I very close to the trainer of the sepak takraw Thailand sepak takraw national team. I work with them many years. And I myself I'm do sepak takraw before when I was young. So the spiker of the sepak takraw, you have to train very carefully. First one, you have to train a lot of stability of the joint. First one, you have to prepare the stability of the joint. Because of the sepak takraw spiker, they're landing on the floor on one leg. You see, yeah? When they are spiked in the air and they are landing on the floor on one leg. If the joint, especially the knee joint, is stable, very risk for injury. This one you have to train first. And then you add more power. But power is not starting from the hypertrophy. Don't do hypertrophy training in sepak takraw because they have to fly into the air when they are hiking. They have to jump. It means if you increase 1 kilogram, 2 kilogram, you have to carry your body weight in jumping in the air. So you have to train neuron, CNS strength training. So you do training, but you do not high resistance. You do medium resistance, but very fast. very fast movement, and then you do more plyometric training. Plyometric is not only for jumping. Plyometric you can do for kicking. So you have to increase the ability of hip flexor. Because in the air you kick the sepak takraw in the air, you use the hip flexor movement from hip extensor to hip flexor to hip flexion. Then that how you kick the sepak takraw ball. So the sepak takraw spiker have to jump high and kick strong. So to jump high, you need a plyometric movement, and to kick strong, you need fast concentric movement. It means the hip flexor have to contract fast, but in jumping, you have to train eccentric and concentric contraction. It means plyometric to jump high.
Okay.
Ask Jamie, I go Myanmar.
Yeah.
Jamie, I go Myanmar.
Yes, again. Sorry, again.
Right. So clear. Maybe all the question. Maybe can answer after this. Right. But the time is already at the end, so we need to close. And then, firstly, I would like to thanks to our speaker for this morning, especially for Ekkawit and also Dr. Ria. Both of them is my mentor also and my Sifu for a nice presentation. I hope today's webinar will be useful and participants can gain some new knowledge from our speaker, not only in term of athletic, but also the other sport also can get some new knowledge for them to add in the training methods. So I hope we can meet again at the webinar in the future. Thank you again to everyone and see you. All right, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Oh, thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you all for everybody who participate in
Thank
this.
you,
Very
Mr. Kawit.
much. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Tek Liang.
Adrian.
Tek Liang. Tek Liang are here.
Thank you, speakers. We see you.
Paul can talk later. Thank you for all your good information to me. John, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
รียบร้อย